Everything's looking rosy. Well, here I am. Where's the evil owl gone? Well, I decided to go for Gatorland instead. In any case, what we got today? Well, it's the continuance of that component review as we get to eventually build the, I'll call it a Fender Strat. I could call it that, but maybe it isn't. It's sort of twisted around a bit, yeah, which is a good thing to do. And here it is, the continuance. God, that's a light. But wait until you see it. Yeah, any second. Let's unwrap it, shall we? Here it is, in the flesh, so to speak. Yeah, it's one of them Strat style necks. Well, it's sort of Strat style. I'll run through the specs presently, but you've got to take a look at this. And this is, it's rosewood, a particular type, I'll cover in a minute. And yeah, it looks absolutely fabulous, especially for the money. Which it wasn't so bad, not as bad as you might think. Now, some people might make them cheaper. I don't know about that. Anyway, before we get anywhere, let's get down close, take a good run through the what it's like really, and go from there. All I've got to say is, doesn't it look awesome? It looks awesome, it feels awesome, and it basically is awesome, I reckon. Well, what have we got? Well, let's start off as we mean to proceed. It's basically a vintage modern style of neck. It's got some modern accolades, but it's also got some old ones, like the, well, you'll see later on. I'm not going to give it all away. Yeah, it's Indian rosewood, and it's a one-piece Indian rosewood. That's something I like. It's a change. I've never actually used one of these Indian rosewood necks before, but all I can say is it just looks pretty awesome to me. You can see that it's got the sort of markers that look as if they are clay, although they're not clay. Clearly they're not clay, but they just look it. And if you look at the frets on this one, I thought, well, because I was getting some gold bits, you know how it goes. I've got a gold tremolo. So I thought I'd get the gold, yeah, frets, and they do look particularly good. By the way, when you're looking at these frets as we go down the system, so to speak, this is exactly as it came from the maker, and we'll talk about the maker a bit later on. Yeah, these are exactly as they come, so if you think these aren't smooth, well, I think they are, but that's just an opinion, you know. Fabulous looking piece of gear. We'll work our way around the neck. I think that's a good idea. Let me move it down a bit. As you can see, it's typically, yeah, rosewood. And if you look really carefully when I tip it, you'll see all them tiny little dots that are usually on rosewood. And if it was Brazilian rosewood, they'd be a bit bigger. I've always found that. And on the necks that have got rosewood that I've had, but they always seem to be a little bit bigger than do on Brazilian. But this is Indian. I've got nothing against that, and it feels absolutely brilliant. These are rounded off pretty reasonably as well. I wouldn't say it was rolled, but they do look good. Well, they feel good too. Let's move down a bit further. Okay, well, we're nearly down the other end of the neck now, and yeah, it's just as good as the other end. What I can tell you about these frets, by the way, these are GD6150 wide and tall gold frets. That's what they call the metal, or the fret material, if you will. And they've been fitted pretty expertly, from what I can see. They do look particularly good, I have to say that. It's a right-handed neck. It's what they call a standard thin neck, by the way, and the nut width at the nut end is 43 mil, or 1 11/16, which is a sort of modern medium sort of size, really. It suits my hand, and my hand's not really very big. Anybody that hasn't seen one of those, it's an interesting piece of gear, is that. That's called an Earvana nut. and it's made of what's called black corian. And a bit more about it later on, I guess, but there it is. And of course, at this end you've got the adjustment hole for the truss rod. And there it is. Yeah, all nice and simple. Can't argue with it. Just basically you put your adjuster in and adjust it. What more could you ask for? Now listen, you can say what you like about this, but that headstock, man, it's fantastic, that is. The thing about rosewood, it's always so smooth. You don't need any finish on it either. I don't know if you know that, guys. Some people do and they don't, but there it is. Fantastic, fantastic headstock. Now I could put a Fender logo on it, or I could put a different one on. That depends what mood I'm in, I suppose. It is a Fender licensed neck, by the way, and you'll get to see that presently. Okay, well here we are around the back, and if you see anything what you think's funny on the neck, well it isn't funny, it's probably just the camera. That's what I'd say to you. The neck's basically flawless, yeah. And one thing about this neck is this has been machined for basically shallow or modern Fender or Spurzl fittings that go in there, you know, the tuners. And I've got just the standard Fender ones, but not quite the standard ones. Mine are the locking ones, and we'll have to drill 2 holes in front of each one of these, really, to get anywhere. Yeah, and do bear in mind, if you're having to drill holes like that, that you really don't want them holes to be tight in any way. If you drill them and they're tight, and you push something in that sort of forces the wood, it can crack. Do be aware of that, won't you? Yeah. Now the fretboard radius, something I haven't actually mentioned, just on that side. It's a 10-16 radius, compound radius, so it's very nice to play and it bends well and all that sort of stuff. But let's stay with it round the back for now. You can see here that it's got the skunk stripe in there, although it's rosewood on rosewood by the look of that. So you don't feel it at all, you can just about see it. Yeah, very nice figured neck. Bit more on this neck. You can see this, the wood grain and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's just hard to describe, but really, really nice to look at. Well, there it is. There's no getting away from it. This is a Fender type of design, if you will. And it's designed for a Fender Strat, because when you buy these things, you can have this designed with a Telecaster fitting, which is different, it's more square than this, and that sort of thing. But yeah, there it is. It's emblazoned with 10-16. It's 1.690 of something or other, whatever that might be. It's got a few numbers on it, but importantly, it's got the Fender licensing on there. It says by Fender, particularly on the bottom of the neck. So it's all good, this is. Really exactly what I wanted to buy for that body. And I think when we consider what the body looks like, I'll pull the body out and let you have a quick look before we continue any further. And you can make up your own mind and put down below in the text if you want, you know, whether you think it matches well or whether you think it doesn't or things like that. But personally, I do think it's going to match very well. So I guess you've got some idea of what it's going to look like. Yeah, some idea. Well, I haven't tried to fit this neck in place yet. But maybe we should see if it just fits, eh? What's the guess it'll fit? What's the guess? Put down below in the text, 100% fit, no percent fit, or anything in between. And we shall see, won't we? Slightly slack on this one. You can see that doesn't sit in place as it should. But there again, when it's screwed together, I guess it's going to be pretty awesome. So how does it look to you? Yeah. So from where I'm sitting, it does look a pretty good match. I was surprised it was slightly slack in the joint area. These are normally, well, I don't know about the rosewood ones, but the other ones are normally quite tight in there. Well, I don't mind that. I'll get away with that. It's just, you just tighten it up, don't you? I wonder what a Fender one would be like. Yeah, that'd be a question, wouldn't it? Particularly when you bear in mind that this particular neck is Fender license, it says there, licensed by Fender. Yeah, so it should be, well, of the quality you want it to be. That's what you really need, isn't it? You don't want half a job at all, do you? No. Well, you've seen that it's licensed by Warmoth. And I think Warmoth done a pretty good job on this one. So now then, let's zoom in and have a quick look at the Earvana nut. Well, it's on the screen now, you can see it. And it's made of this material. It's called black corian. Yeah, that's the material. And it's one of them slippy types of materials. But as you look at it, you'll see that where each string is, you've got different amounts of cutouts. Well, Tony, what's that all about? Well, what it's for, it's to compensate for your guitar going out of tune when you play further up the neck. Well, that's the idea, they say. Well, at least I think that's what they say. I never really went and read it, but you can see that the string lengths are going to be adjusted, in effect, by the nut. Now, there's been probably one or two different ones around over the years, but yeah, that's its basic idea, and yeah, I hope you get that. They're about, how much are they? I think they're about $65. Yeah, fitted, so it's not that bad. And by the way, one of the things that I don't think I said is it's actually it's 22 frets. Yeah, just in case I didn't mention it earlier. I know, some people say to me, they'll say, oh Tony, you've bought another Warmoth, what about all them other necks out there? Well, what about them? I like this one. I like the price of these for what it is, and I haven't covered price, but I thought it was actually a pretty fair price for what you got. I don't see anything wrong with it. So here's the price, the actuality of it. And as always, I just want to point out that I did actually buy this. It's not something Warmoth have ever sent me for free. They don't offer any discount whatsoever. Nothing. Nout. Zilch, as they say. So the review is a real review, as always. Anyway, on to the price. This, with its corian nut, remember. What else do they have? Oh, and with the upgrade for the frets rather than standard wire, and all that sort of stuff. It was $472. I didn't have to upgrade the frets. I didn't have to fit the corian nut. I could have bought it as it was, and I think it was about $370 or something like that, which I thought was particularly cheap for what it is. Because I know the quality before I get it. I don't think I've ever had a bad one of these for year after year after year. In the early days of about 2010, you used to have lots of problems with the fret ends. Now, I wouldn't say these are absolutely perfect, but I can put it to you this way. You can play this right as it arrives, and it wouldn't make any difference. You just play it. You don't feel anything bad. You know what I mean? So that was the price. It's $472. The bad bit about it is they do charge $139 shipping to the UK. So if you're somebody in the UK, well, sadly, you'll be paying that shipping too. It used to cost about $80, if I remember right, before the COVID-arama. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you do get this with it, and it's a little sticker for the top, and I'm never going to fit that sticker. And it does tell you about the holes in the back being the right size for what you want. Otherwise, this could split because it can be hard wood. That's the thing about it. It's nice and light though. It's as light as any of the other Fender necks I've seen around. In fact, I could pull a Fender one out now. You could just do a quick comparison. Yeah. Well, you can see straight off they're pretty similar. They're absolutely, basically the same. Yeah. Except for the nut on that one, and except for the that's got the sort of silver coloured wire, and this has got the gold coloured wire. The inserts feel similar. This has got a more rough type of wood, but apart from that, this is gloss. That isn't. This has got a Fender logo. Big deal. I could put my own on if I wanted to. Round the back, well, it's very similar. It's got the very similar skunk stripe round there. It feels nice and smooth, by the way, and it's matte round the back, that one. but so's this one. And I would say those two look exceedingly similar, because they're meant to be. So regarding quality, you could go and pay $330 for one of them. That is a Mexican one, I have to point out. But it does have its holes drilled, as you can probably see on screen there. And apart from that, yeah, it all looks pretty sort of similar, sort of. Well, as you can see from them pictures, they've got the bottom bit there, all nice and clear, where you can see where it fits in the body and the difference in the truss rod. You can see at the headstock end, yeah, there's a little difference there. And really, overall, it's a pretty similar neck, except from the fact that this one is Indian Rosewood, one piece that is. The other one, well, you've seen that on other reviews, and if you haven't seen it, yeah, there's a link down below. Always look at the links down below, guys, because I'll link off to these other things that are going to be fitted to this guitar, and if I've done different reviews like I have on this one, you can go and have a look at that and see what I said about that one. Point is, I need you, yeah, you, yeah, I need you to subscribe, you know, go and press that button that says subscribe on it. Yeah, do that thumbs up thing. You've seen that too, haven't you? I know you have. And what about that bell? Now, some people tell you to smash it, but I think if you just go ding, 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 it could all be good. And every time I'm doing a review, as in for example, when we build that guitar, you're going to see it on camera. Well, you won't if you haven't subscribed, because you won't know it's there. Yeah, so it could be a good idea. Anyway, on with the review. I'm going to put this other neck away. Well, just before we move on from where we're at, take a look at this body. Yeah, this is that body that I'm going to be assembling for the Boss gear, you know, with the GKC extra bits for the integral MIDI and all that stuff. It's got its undercoat on at the moment, as you probably saw on the picture, but it'll change. Now, of course, there isn't much more I can say about price. We've already covered all that. What about the warranty? Yeah, well, warranty on anything like this, any type of guitar part that's made of wood in particular, yeah, it's never that great. I mean, they'll give you a 1-year warranty, but they exclude X, Y, and Z, and by the time you've excluded X, Y, and Z, there's not really much left. And that's not just this company, Warmoth. That's basically all of them. None of them will give you some guarantee that this isn't going to crack at some stage, or it isn't going to this, or it isn't going to warp, or you name it. You can't come up with anything that is going to be covered. Well, that's not true, actually, but you get the idea, don't you? So what score would I give it out of 10? Well, most people would say, well, Tony's going to give it a 10 out of 10. And I would, except for one thing. Except for the fact that this installation end that fits in the body is either slightly slack on the body or it's slightly slack on this. It could be slightly slack on both, who knows. But it has got that little bit of play in it, and I'm used to, from Warmoth in particular, having these as a sort of tight fit, but I won't hold it against them. It says it's a vintage modern, and maybe the original vintages were slightly slacker down there. I don't know. All I do know is that when I put it together, it's going to be good. I can just tell, as you can with most of these sort of things, when you get hold of them, you know. Yeah, so it's going to be, what would I rate it? I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Yes, an 8 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10. It's still a pretty awesome score, is that. It's the first Rosewood one, like I said earlier, that I've actually bought. Yeah, the Dragon 2002's got a Brazilian Rosewood neck on it, but it's in a different level than this. But I think this should work quite well. At least I hope it will. Well, that's it for now. You know what's going to be coming up if you're watching me, and if you're not watching me, like I said earlier, you need to do that subscription and the thumbs up thing and the ring the bell so that you get notified every time I post. Yeah, and I've got some good stuff coming up as well. I won't bore you with them, but there's lots of it coming up. Yeah, and I don't do it for nothing. I want you to see what I'm doing, you know. Yeah, so that's it. That is the Rosewood neck. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to visit TonyMcKenzie.com. Yeah, I've got lots of reviews on there that aren't on YouTube. There's quite a lot of gear that's not on YouTube at all. Although some of it is, a lot of it isn't. And of course I've got the YouTube channel with well over 400 reviews or something like that. I've lost count these days. Yeah, so that's it for now. Yeah, I'll see you next time. I hope this review has proved interesting to you and that you've actually learned something from it. Yeah, that's the idea. Now get out of here.